Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Be Your Own Bank podcast. It's that time of the week, the weekly roundup. Whoosh.
All right, let's round it up, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I do have to start with some sad news today.
Oh, no. What happened?
So I just found out that Mr. Goxx just passed away.
Oh, not Mr. Goxx.
Yeah, Mr. Goxx, the one and only.
Who's Mr. Goxx?
Yeah, I figured you knew. But renowned trader on the crypto market.
Oh, he's a crypto trader.
Crypto trader actually outperformed the S&P 500.
Oh, wow.
Made about 24% in 4 months.
He made 24% on his investment?
On his crypto portfolio in 4 months, yeah.
Whoa. Does he work for one of these big companies, like one of these big hedge funds?
No. Just a private trader, really well-respected
Wow.
in the crypto community.
How did he die?
Just old age, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah. Lifespan's only 2 to 3 years for a hamster. So
For a what?
for a hamster, it's only 2 to 3 years. So, I mean, it wasn't that unpredictable.
Oh, okay. So he's a hamster?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Mr. Goxx is a trading hamster. That's not a type of hamster, by the way. I'm sure he was like a teddy bear hamster or something.
Yeah,
But
I want to get one of those.
but yeah, his owner created this very sophisticated box, or I guess you call it a cage for Mr. Goxx to successfully trade cryptocurrency.
Would you potentially call it a Goxx Box?
I think that's exactly what it's called. So let's throw the Goxx Box up there.
What's in the Goxx Box?
So much.
Let's take a look, gang.
Let's take a look at the Goxx Box.
All right.
There it is. Okay, so basically, it's a little hamster cage. They called it his office. As you can see, the intention wheel there is where he would spend a lot of his time running about. And
that's where he did the work.
That's where he did the work.
That's his desk.
That's
really.
his workspace. So basically, he would run on the intention wheel. Wherever it stopped, it would be a cryptocurrency that would be selected on an actual exchange.
Right.
And depending on where he went, either through the decision tunnel of buy or sell, he would either buy that specific currency or sell it.
So he would select the decision tunnel, as you can see on the bottom there. Whatever he decided, it would immediately trigger that transaction.
It would trigger that transaction, and they had the owners had it programmed to let them know which tunnel he went through, so that they could see in real time his buys and sells, basically.
And there's actually a really amazing video that we're going to link at the bottom of this video, and I would highly recommend it because it goes into detail and how the Goxx Box works.
It's incredible, it's hilarious, and it's real. It's a real thing, and it happened. But moving on, we have to talk about inflation because it's getting out of control.
So what is inflation? Inflation is your buying power. So inflation is about 2 to 3% annually. So it basically just means that your dollar is only worth 97 cents at the end of a year. So you can only buy 97 cents worth of goods, whereas a year ago you could buy $1 worth. So it's just the value of things. You see it at the pump. You see it, gallons of milk are going up in price. It's because it's compensating for inflation. And the only way to compensate and bring inflation down, because we've been in this pandemic, the inflation rate has been going up because they've been printing money, right? And basically the interest rate is the only way to combat inflation. And the interest rates can be brought down, the amount of money that it takes to borrow money. So the current interest rate is about 0.25%. So to borrow money, you have to pay that 0.25% interest
annually.
And that's added to whatever you're buying. So a home, you would have your prime interest rate, right? So I believe that's 3% plus what the federal interest rate is. So 0.25, so 3.25, right? So when inflation is high, the only thing you can do is bring the interest rate down. But when the interest rate is 0.25, there's really no place to bring the interest rate to try to compensate for inflation. Inflation in the last 6 months, even April, inflation rate was at 4.2%, which is already higher than that 3% we were just talking about. Now it's over 6%,
which is insane.
So inflation is twice what it should be. And there's really no place to bring the interest rate down any lower. Because if we go to negative interest rates, which is possible, then that basically means that they're paying people to take money.
Which is not sustainable in the long run.
No, absolutely not. And it's incentivizing people to buy things if we get to that point, which we're very close to. We're teetering on the edge of. In 1920, the interest rate was like 28%. Excuse me, the inflation rate was like 28%.
Which was right before the Great Depression.
We're in a very speculative time right now of not being able to solve the problem that we have. Because if we go into a recession, then people hold on to their money. They take it out of investments. They put it in safe places. And when they do that then, the economy itself starts to slow and people lose jobs and, prices go down. But then that just reinforces what what the hoarders are, what their concerns were.
Well, I think it's really important to note too how dire this situation really is, and that we're really getting to the edge of another crash. Maybe it's not as bad as the Great Depression, but it's probably going to mirror 2008 or worse.
I think it's going to be worse.
Yeah. And so one thing that we really have to point out is that in the last 12 months, 40% of all the money that we've ever had has been printed.
Wait, 40%?
Yeah. So since the inception of the US dollar in 1785, just the past 12 months, 40% of all that money has been printed in that time.
So when you print money, inflation goes up because now everybody's got money, but the money's not worth as much. So like in the example of Zimbabwe, they lost their entire fiat currency because
of hyperinflation. They printed too much of it. They printed way too much of it to the point where $30 trillion was worth one US dollar.
You can actually buy $100 trillion Zimbabwe bill.
It's what, like $200?
Well, now it is because it's a novelty.
Yeah.
But when the economy in Zimbabwe went out of business, for lack of a better term,
it was worth like 33 cents.
It was worth $100 trillion in Zimbabwe cash was worth 30 cents.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the extreme, obviously.
But I mean, we could get there. The only thing that economists are saying that's keeping us from getting to that point is the fact that we are the global reserve currency. America is such a superpower that a lot of transactions globally are done in US dollars. And so because we have that power, even if we're printing too much of it, we're still okay. We can keep printing more.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But I mean, if China and other countries are able to develop their own reserve currency, so to speak, using like cryptocurrencies, they could potentially overthrow the power of the dollar. And then we really do have to worry about printing too much of it.
So if we don't become the global world currency, basically, or the most,
if we don't maintain that title,
if we don't be the best, be best. If we don't be best, then we're in danger of defaulting almost on our currency.
Yeah, because we're borrowing against ourselves,
right,
to pay for things. I mean, we have a $28 trillion debt.
So, like in Zimbabwe now, they accept 9 different currencies. They don't have a currency of Zimbabwe because they ruined it. And so now if you are someone who's selling a product in Zimbabwe, if you're a street vendor, if you're somebody who has
selling bracelets,
whatever, now people will come up and say, what do you accept? It's almost like a cryptocurrency in a sense, is that they're taking US dollars, yuans, yens, like everything, rupees, like they have to understand the conversion rates between all of these fiat currencies
because they can't trust
they don't have their
currency.
Own, and they can't trust their own, right?
Yeah, and it's all about trust, really, because there's nothing else backing up most of these currencies anymore because the gold standard is not a thing. There isn't enough gold to back up the money in the world. So all fiat money, for the most part, is
fake.
No, it's just backed by trust.
Right.
Yeah. It's backed by trust. But that's where deflationary currencies come in that can kind of help mitigate some of those risks.
Yeah.
And that's why we are such huge proponents of Bitcoin, other cryptos, but especially stable coins. Stable coins being US dollar coin, Tether, any of those cryptocurrencies that are managed to maintain a stable value of $1. They will always be worth $1. So you get the buying power, or I guess the volatility, the low volatility risk of the US dollar and the buying power of the US dollar. But it allows you to invest it in a way that you can combat inflation.
Right. So if you put it onto one of these decentralized or centralized platforms, i.e. Celsius, Nexo, BlockFi,
Voyager.
if you're putting them on one of these platforms, then you're earning about 8% interest. So that covers your 3% inflation, right? And you're pocketing about 5% currently. Those rates will change.
Well, you're pocketing 8, but you're maintaining buying power.
You're maintaining,
increasing your buying
You're
power.
increasing your buying power.
Yeah.
Correct. As opposed to if it's in your bank, your dollar's losing buying power. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah, and it also helps during bad times. So we're going to have another recession. It's guaranteed.
Yep.
We don't know when. Thinking it's going to be pretty soon, but it's going to happen. It may be delayed because we've been printing so much money, but it's going to happen. And by having some of your money outside of the bank and in some of these stable coins, you can combat bad times because these exchanges aren't doing anything new. They're taking a new technology, but they're applying old banking strategies that have been working for centuries.
Yep.
So it's traditional lending in a new technology form, which allows for more efficiency, better security, and it allows them to pay you more for your money.
Because there's less middlemen.
There's less middlemen, and yeah, they make money if the market sucks. They make money if the market's doing well, which means you make money all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's helpful because a lot of these currencies are deflationary, so they are going to keep increasing in value over time.
Right. Your dollar is always going to be worth $1, whatever that dollar means in buying power. But a Bitcoin could double in value and has doubled in value and has grown 200% in the last 13 years.
Yeah, 200% on average annually, yeah.
Which we're not saying that's going to be the case in perpetuity, but it's...
But even if it's less, even if it's 2% or 4%, Bitcoin still is going to give you more buying power indefinitely.
Yes, and you're only going to maybe gain a couple pennies on a dollar over time, depending on the strength of the dollar. It's only going to fluctuate a few pennies, whereas with Bitcoin, if you hold if you hold for a long time, hold on for dear life, and you leave that as an investment strategy, you're going to have a better outcome.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Especially if you're dollar cost averaging. So that's enough about inflation and deflation. We want to end on a fun note. We have just heard that Elon has developed a new cryptocurrency.
Ooh.
It's called Mars Coin.
Like the candy company?
Like the planet.
Like the red planet?
Like the red planet, yeah. So SpaceX is, of course, working on creating a means of getting people to Mars. Because if we can add a living ability to the red planet...
Because why not?
Why wouldn't you?
Right? I mean, we already screwed up this planet. We might as well move on. That's what they say.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do with our trash. We throw it in a bag and walk away from it. Throw it in the ocean. That's right.
Throw it in the ocean.
But I mean, we've always talked about space exploration and colonizing. Yeah.
So it's a cryptocurrency that is going to help colonize Mars. So you're investing in a Mars mission and in Mars terraforming, which basically means adding trees to places without trees, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's going to be...
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I know that's what terraforming is.
If you look at the...
I'm just saying, I don't know if that's a possibility on Mars. I'm thinking more of like a dome sort of society.
I don't know if you saw the Matt Damon movie called The Martian.
I did. And I don't think they terraformed it. I think he just grew potatoes.
But he had like plants and stuff.
Yeah.
So there you go.
In an oxygen-contained environment.
I understand that, but eventually... they'll be able to take the dome off, and now we've got plants that are, sucking life off of the CO2 in Mars atmosphere. I don't know. I'm not a
Who knows?
scientist.
The point is Mars coin is supposed to be the currency of Mars in the future.
Yeah.
So it's like they're trying to create this economy before they even have the infrastructure.
Right.
All we're saying is buy Mars coin.
Just please buy Mars coin.
Trade your Shiba for Mars coin.
Everything. Take all of your coins and put it into Mars coin. Because we're going to be there soon.
Cash out your 401k.
We're going to be there soon.
Take the 10% hit.
You don't want to
and
be the one
buy
who's late to Mars coin. You just don't want to go to that party and everyone's like talking about Mars coin and you're like, I don't have any Mars coin.
You mean
And
the party on Mars?
You get excluded? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like you don't have Mars coin, the native token of Mars, the planet?
Yeah. I mean, how are you going to get to Phobos if you don't have Mars coin?
All right.
That's the Roundup, kids.
Yeah. Let's get into these charts. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. We talked last week about a pullback. We are continuing that pullback. That pullback went below the 50-day moving average, came back and hit the 50-day moving average, turning it into a resistance at right around 60K. Now we're retracing back to the 54 range, which is also coincidentally the 100-day moving average. If we continue lower, we could see 50,000. I see that as a pretty good support. I would be adding to my position right around that 50,000 level. Once again, be patient. We are still in a bull market. No need to panic. Okay, our total market cap for the entire market. Once again, we've hit this support. We've bounced off of our 100-day moving average at about 3.5 trillion. So if that holds, we will be heading back up. If it doesn't hold, the next stop would be our 200-day moving average. So it could get bloodier. Be patient. All right, our dollar cost averaging. I've got SIA coin. SIA coin's only 2.4 cents right now. Its pattern is looking pretty good. We have a golden cross on the daily. It's also overperforming the market at the moment. Then we have Matic, Polygon. That has bounced off and looks to be heading up again. Matic is $1.68. And lastly, we have Kava coin, Kava. If you're on Kraken, it offers, I believe, 20% interest, which is incredible. Kava is getting very close to touching this support line. So looking forward to a bounce after that. That's it for the charts, gang. We are the Bit Bros. Remember, we are not licensed financial advisors. All content is intended for educational purposes only. Do your own research and only risk what you're willing to lose. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.